Hello, my lovelies. Today we will read Chapter 7 of Cabin 12 Chronicles, written by Strakaska. Again, not much has changed. Castor had not gone in for any kisses or even many hugs, seeming to respect my need for a tiny bit of space. But as we sat on the bed in my room, I showed Castor my chalice, asking him if he thought slime was a liquid, and if so, did that mean we could make jello with it? I laughed before I stopped, realizing how close we were to each other. My eyes widened as I looked up at Castor, who was much bigger than me. His face leaned down, and Castor's eyes softened as he leaned in for another kiss. This time, the touch of his lips on mine felt more familiar, and I let myself be carried away by the warmth and the sweetness of the moment. Castor's hands gently cradled my face, and I couldn't help but surrender to the tenderness he expressed through his actions. His hands rested on my waist as he pulled me into his lap, kissing me for all it was worth. My mind raced, jogged, and then came to a grinning halt, lost in the intensity of the kiss. Time seemed to slip away. Castor's warmth enveloped me, and the connection we shared deepened with each passing moment. As he held me in his lap, I could feel the rapid beating of our hearts echoing. Before I knew it, I had fallen back onto the bed, Castor licking his lips, and I felt a sense of uncertainty as those bright purple eyes looked down at me, making me feel small, like prey. Castor kissed me once more, with hunger and yearning. As Castor placed kisses on my cheek, nose, and neck, I squeaked in surprise. "You're beautiful, Percy," he whispered, and my face turned crimson. His hand slipped under my shirt, and I could feel his hand on my waist. "Cass, it's okay, Percy. I got you," he promised. I trembled at the desperation in his voice. As he whined under my name, his hands moved higher, till my shirt was half off. "Cass," I cried out, and before I knew it, tears came. Castor immediately pulled away, concern etched on his face. "Percy, oh Percy, I'm sorry." I wiped away the tears, my emotion in turmoil. Castor sat next to me, his eyes filled with regret. "I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable, Percy. I should have asked before doing anything," he told me. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my racing heart. "It's not your fault, Cass," he nodded, his expression still pained. "I understand. I don't want to rush you or make you feel pressured." Castor gazed at me with hopeful eyes, his emotions laid bare. "Percy, I love you," he confessed, his voice filled with sincerity and vulnerability. The weight of his words hung in the air, and I felt a lump forming in my throat. The truth was, I didn't know how to respond. The conflicting emotions inside me swirled, leaving me in a state of confusion. I told him the truth. "I don't know if I love you," I finally admitted, the words heavy on my tongue. The hurt in Castor's eyes was instantaneous, and a painful silence settled between us. I could see the disappointment etched on his face. I had so much more to say. Before I could say more, Pollux entered the cabin. Catching a glimpse of the tense atmosphere, Castor, unable to bear the situation, ran off before Pollux could say anything. Pollux glanced at me, concern etched on his face. I stood up, determined to catch Castor, but Pollux intervened, grabbing my arm. "Let him go, Percy," he insisted. Feeling the weight of the difficult moment I had created, I couldn't bear the thought that I might have deeply hurt someone I cared about. But I began to protest. "You don't love him, do you?" Pollux interrupted, his eyes searching for an answer in the silence. I didn't have a clear answer, but the silence seemed to imply a negative response. "He'll come around, Percy. Just give him some time," Pollux reassured me, extending his hand. "I swear on the river's strength." I wanted to argue that it was a terrible promise to make, but I held my tongue, deciding to wait patiently for Castor's return. The wait felt agonizing. As I sat there, the weight of my uncertainty settling heavily on my shoulders. Pollux offered a supportive presence, occasionally attempting to lighten the mood with a joke or two, yet the air in the cabin remained heavy with the unspoken tension. Eventually, after what felt like an eternity, the door creaked open and Castor entered. His eyes were puffy, his expression a mix of sadness and anger. I stood up, ready to address him, but Pollux shot me a warning look. "Give him space," he mouthed silently. I reluctantly sat back down, watching as Castor moved to his bunk without a word. The pain in his eyes cut deep, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I had irreversibly damaged something precious. As the moments ticked by, uncertainty hung in the air, and all I could do was hope that time would heal the wounds I unintentionally inflicted. Days passed, each one seemingly longer than the last. Castor kept his distance, and I respected Pollux's advice, giving him the space he needed. The cabin, once filled with laughter and camaraderie, now felt like a hollow shell of what it used to be. Pollux tried his best to maintain the cheerful atmosphere, but even he couldn't fully dispel the heaviness in the air. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the camp, I mustered the courage to approach Castor. He was sitting alone by the lake, staring into the water with a distant expression. I took a deep breath and walked over, the crunch of gravel beneath my shoes echoing in the silence. "Castor," I began, my voice tentative. He looked up, his eyes meeting mine briefly before returning to the water. I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you." He remained silent, his face a mask of unreadable emotions. I continued, stumbling over my words. "I care about you, Castor, a lot, but I don't know if I love you, and I shouldn't have let things go as far as they did without being sure." Castor's jaw tightened, but he didn't say anything. The weight of his unspoken pain hung in the air. "I understand if you need more time," I added, my voice barely above a whisper. I want you to know that I value you, and I never wanted to hurt you." Without waiting for a response, I turned and walked away, leaving Castor by the lake. The ache in my chest mirrored the turmoil I had caused. I had hoped for clarity, but instead I felt even more lost. And now I heard one of the people I never wanted to inflict pain to. Pollux sat beside me in the strawberry patch, our place. Pollux, the mischievous yet perceptive twin, couldn't help but notice the turmoil I was going through, regarding my feelings for Castor. One day we sat on the porch of our cabin. He nudged me with a teasing grin. "Trouble in paradise, Percy?" Pollux asked. "Eating some grapes." I shook my head when he offered me some. I sighed, feeling the weight of my confusion. "Not the time, Pollux. It's complicated, and you know that." He raised an eyebrow, a glint of mischief in his eyes. "It's not that complicated, Percy. You're just overthinking it. Feelings aren't meant to be dissected but like a science project." I shot him a skeptical look. "Easy for you to say. You're not the one caught in the middle of all this." Raising his eyebrows as if to say, "Really?" Pollux leaned back, studying me intently. "Listen, Percy. Love is messy, and it rarely follows a neat, predictable path. But sometimes you just need to let go." I rolled my eyes. "The laid-back demigod. That's easy for you to say, but how do I know if what I'm feeling is really love?" Pollux chuckled, his eyes softening. "Well, for starters, how do you feel when Castor is around?" I paused, considering the question. "I feel happy, but it's more than that. It's like there's this warmth, basically the opposite way of how I feel about you right now. He grinned knowingly. Just need to trust your instincts. His words lingered in my mind, but I just wasn't ready to take that leap. Dionysus, the grumpy camp director, found himself reluctantly dragged into the messy affairs of teenage love. It was evening. As he walked by me on the porch, he grumbled under his breath. Why do I have to deal with lots of demigods? Shouldn't I be enjoying some fine wine somewhere? He muttered, taking a sip from his Diet Coke. Sorry, Dad, I said automatically, as he sat beside me. This is the problem with teenagers. They fall in love and mess up. You think you're the only one to end in heartbreak? I buried my face in my knees. Thanks, Dad. Dionysus sighed, placing an arm around my shoulders. You demigods are so clueless. If you feel something, don't overthink it. Life's too short for that, he told me softly. How did you know Ganymede was the one? Hoping for a clue in my own feelings. I told you. He made me laugh. He smiled, recalling the memory. He chuckled, a sound that carried a mix of amusement and wisdom. You've been dancing around your own feelings for quite some time now. It's almost as if you're trying to avoid admitting something to yourself. I'm scared, I realized, my voice filled with fear. Of what? Before I could articulate my thoughts, the words spilled out. I'm scared to hurt Castor. He's my friend. He was my brother. And I really don't want to hurt him. I stood, the weight of my emotions bearing down on me. I'm so scared I will hurt him. I'm so scared he'll hate me. And then I'll never be part of the family anymore. I don't want to be a friend, brother, or lover. What if I pick wrong and end up all alone? Dionysus pulled me into a hug, a comforting gesture in the midst of my turmoil. Ah, Percy, I whispered. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm really sorry. I know, kid. No matter what the three of you do, I'll always love you, he reassured, lifting a hand on the river strings. I'll always love you, Percy, Castor, and Pollux, no matter how much grief they cause me. I hugged him tighter, seeking solace in his words. Now go and sort out your feelings, and don't worry too much about messing up. You demigods have a knack for surviving the chaos you create. With that, he took another sip of his Diet Coke, leaving me with a bit of clarity and a lot to think about. I held on to my chalice in my hands, thinking about the calling Papa for help. But as the glass filled with strawberry juice, I knew he was listening. Hey, Papa, I said to the cup. I sighed. I just don't know. Castor is great. I always liked him. When his lavender eyes turned to me, his laughter, how he hugs me like I'm precious. I smiled, liking that feeling. I feel like I'm all his when he does that. I really can't imagine. I blinked. I couldn't imagine loving anyone like him. I sighed, sipping the drink and continuing to think. I sat there, contemplating my past mistakes and regrets that lingered. But I really wanted to add another potential regret to the list. I remained seated at the pier as the sun started to sink. The creaking of footsteps on the old weathered wood signaling someone's approach. Soon they sat down beside me. Hey, Castor's voice reached my ears, and I turned to see him sitting beside me on the pier. The sky was painted in hues of orange and pink as the sun dipped down below the horizon. His violet eyes carried a mix of emotions. As for a moment we sat in silence, both contemplating the complexities of our emotions. Castor, I began, my voice breaking the quiet. Hi, Percy. He placed a hand awkwardly behind his neck. Sorry, I said automatically. It's okay, Percy. I should have been more patient with you. Your emotions. I pushed too much. I'm sorry. Castor admitted his feelings, his gaze fixed on the water below. I should have been more honest. I should have been less, he admitted. I hurt your feelings. I did the same. It broke out a smile from both of us. What do we do now? I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of truth he had kept hidden. I looked into Castor's eyes, gathering the courage to share his deepest fears. Castor, there's something I need to tell you. I've been so afraid of love because of my past. My biological father, Poseidon, disowned me. Then my mother, she also rejected me. And left scars that made me terrified of opening up to others. Castor listened attentively, his expression softening with understanding. But, Percy continued, I don't want to let my fears dictate my life. I've come to realize that I care about you a lot. Castor, more than just a friend. I love you. The words hung in the air, and Percy waited anxiously for Castor's reaction, hoping that truth would set them both free. Castor's face lit up with a goofy smile, a mixture of relief and joy. He couldn't contain his happiness as Percy's admission. Percy, you have no idea how much I've been hoping to hear that, Castor said, his eyes sparkling. In a tender moment, Castor enveloped Percy in a warm hug. The embrace held the weight of the unspoken feelings the journey they had travelled. Percy, feeling the sincerity in Castor's arms, couldn't help but return the sentiment. I love you too, Castor. Percy whispered in a spontaneous burst of emotion. He pressed a kiss on Castor's lips. The world seemed to fade away, leaving only the warmth of the moment, and things finally felt okay. As time flowed on, the demigod twins, Castor and Pollux, found themselves on the brink of a new chapter in their lives. College. The once boisterous cabin now echoed with the quiet anticipation of change. The siblings, now young adults, were preparing to embark on separate journeys. In the days leading up to the departure, I couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. The twins were leaving me behind to start something new on their own. I began to revolve around Pollux when he trained, or Castor as he read. It just felt like time was slipping away too fast. As Castor packed up the last of his stuff, I noticed how empty the room was. I felt a sense of sadness. What's the matter, Percy? I stared at the ground. I'm just sad that you're going to college. I'll be here. What if you meet someone new, someone better, and... Castor kissed me. No one could be better than you, Percy. I'll only be a few hours away, not across the country. He closed his suitcase as I hugged him. Love you, Cass. Love you too, Percy. He beamed, savouring the words. I spent as much time together as possible before his departure for college. We explored familiar places at camp, revisited strawberry fields, and even took a final canoe trip on the lake. The atmosphere was bittersweet, knowing that these moments would soon be memories. The evening, as the sun set, we sat on the beach. Our feet in the sand, shared our stories about our adventures over the years, laughter mixed with touch of nostalgia as we recalled the challenges we faced together and the bonds that had grown between us. I'll miss this, Castor admitted, gazing at the twilight sky. Yeah, me too, I replied, feeling a lump in my throat. As the night fell, we watched the stars emerge, and Castor pointed at constellations. There was a comfortable silence between us. The weight of impending change lingered in the air. I promise to visit whenever I can, Castor said, breaking the silence. I'll hold you to that, I teased, managing a small smile. Castor and Pollux, ready for the next step, felt a mix of eagerness and nostalgia. Percy, who had become an integral part of their lives, supported their decision with a mixture of pride and a twinkle of sadness. The cabin, once a hub of youthful energy, now held the serene ambience as the demigods prepared to say their goodbyes. Observing the duo's journey, Dionysus couldn't resist a partaking remark. Off to college we are. Try not to get expelled in the first week. It's quite a record to maintain. The twins rolled their eyes, and Percy chuckled at the familiar banter. Thanks for the car, Dad, Castor said. Thanks for teaching us how to drive, Pollux added with a grin. Unsure how to react, Dionysus hugged his son back. Don't let anyone steal you, and pray to me if you need anything. Of course, they said, in nostalgic unison. Percy hugged Pollux first. Let us know if you need us for another quest, Percy. College takes a second place if you need us. Smiling, Percy hugged him. Thanks, Pollux. I'll tell Dad to message you. He grinned, allowing Percy to see his boyfriend. Castor was trying hard not to cry as Pollux gently patted his back, encouraging him to move forward. Percy hugged Castor. I have to go now, he stammered, in what might have been English. Lavender eyes threatening tears. I know, Percy kissed him once on the lips. As Percy pulled away from the brief but tender kiss, he could feel the weight of the moment settling in. Castor looked at him with a mixture of love and sorrow, a silent understanding passing between them. The impending separation loomed, and Percy wished he could freeze this moment in time. Pollux, sensing the emotion undercurrent, spoke up. All right, Cass, you better get going before Percy floods the whole camp. Castor gave a weak chuckle, wiping away a stray tear. Yeah, Castor mumbled. With a final lingering look at Percy, he turned to leave. Pollux hugged me tightly. Take care of Dad. I know he'll be a mess without us. With a nod, the twins gathered their belongings and headed towards the camp's exit over the hill, but not back for a while. Dionysus offered half a hearted wave, and I lingered for a while, watching as they disappeared into the distance. Dionysus glanced at me as I stood there watching the twins disappear over the hill. The cabin, once lively, now seemed emptier than ever. Perseus, Dionysus grumbled. You don't have to stay alone in cabin 12, you know. Thanks, Dad, I replied, appreciating the offer. But just one change at a time, I thought to myself. The cabin felt emptier. The absence of the twins, leaving an undeniable void. The memories we shared, the adventures we embarked on, would forever be attached to the walls of cabin 12. As the days moved forward, I knew our paths would cross again. For now, it was a moment of transition and growth. Aside, a mix of nostalgia and anticipation hanging in the air. The trio of demigods had faced countless challenges, and now we had to separate for a while. I immediately sought solstice in Castor's bed, though only in a short time had passed. The familiar scent of sunlight lingering on the sheets made me acutely aware of how much I would miss Castor's embrace. As I sighed and gazed up at the ceiling, the thought crossed my mind, maybe I should go stay with Dad. The cabin felt too vast and lonely without Castor. Outside, the campers chattered away, engaged in their activities. Feeling a bit defeated, I decided that today would be my stay inside and be depressed day. I slid my hands under the pillow and a reflexive smile broke across my face. There it was, a beaded necklace. Castor's necklace. Each bead held memories of the adventures we shared over the passing years. I knew Castor had left it for me, perhaps not expecting me to discover it so soon. As I secured the necklace around my neck, I realized having two wasn't necessary. It was time to find Dad and send a letter along with a necklace to replace the one he had graciously left me to borrow. Touching Castor's necklace, I whispered to myself, Sagapo. So this was the last chapter of Cabin 12 Chronicles. Tune in next week to Percy's Valentine's Blues. Bye.